CBDC has been trending this week on Twitter. I'm going to be explaining what it is and why it is even worse than most people think.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. God bless you. I bring you greetings in the name of our Lord Jesus. I'm going to make this video short. I hope I won't be more than 8 minutes on this video, so let's just get started already. Now, the last time I brought you a video that dealt largely on the digital passport, the digital international traveling documents, the document with which, without which you may not be able to travel. You may not be able to access, places that your heart desired to go to. You may have been living in a place, for instance, maybe you are a Nigerian and you are staying overseas, and suddenly these policies are implemented. If you don't have the digital traveling documents, you may not even be allowed to travel out, or if you travel out, you may not be allowed to come back again. I have always said that if this thing starts from the West, definitely it will go around the world. It will get to every place. If it is coming from America, if it's coming from the EU, definitely the African countries, their leadership is so poor and porous and so corrupt and have no mind of their own, definitely will dance to it. They will take it in because the world actually, they don't actually have any choice, because the world is coming under the leadership of a single person. There's a video I will show you that is an expert who, you're going to hear his voice. Now, I will have said this, and recently, even just for me to lay a foundation, recently the World Economic Forum has indicated their intentions to use the AI to write the Bible. And you guess what that will mean? It will become a Bible of all inclusivity. That that which is evil will become good, just as you're seeing it play out on the streets today. That which is bad is becoming good, and that which is evil is, that which is good is becoming evil. And surprisingly, some persons that have been, so supportive of, the perversion that is happening in the world, like, what you have, a man having, sexual relationship with a man, a woman, the same thing, man and beast. Now,
today on the newscast, the Great Reset, how the push for global government and a digital currency is growing, and why 2030 is such a pivotal year for this sinister agenda. That's coming up.
And these are the things that the world condemned before. Oh, I said I won't take too much time. You are welcome to the End Time Truth Television, the channel for the lovers of truth, for the truth of the end time. So if you are a lover of truth, give us a subscription, and God bless you. Shalom. Now, what we want to talk about now, this is part one, the digital currency. Now, the digital currency is gaining acceptance. World governments, powers, that be, are beginning to accept this, and is becoming popular. And I was actually surprised that even Nigeria has gone, into that, what they call a CBDC, the central bank digitalized currency, or central bank digital currency. America is at the formative level of it. They are beginning, theirs. And I said, I'm surprised that Nigeria is actually ahead of the US in this. Now, but make no mistake, it is still, what it is. This is the program. Now, you need to ask yourself, why do we need the digital currency? Why do we need, to have a special program for a digitalized currency? Because in these days of the world, I think that your currency, your money is already digitalized. And as much as you can use your ATM card, you can, make transfers with your, when I mean ATM card, okay, I think there is ATM everywhere. So when your credit card, your debit card, whatever it is, and you can also make transactions with your phone. Now, some years back, they started it here in Nigeria with what they called cash light. That means that is the limited amount of cash you can withdraw or you can have on you per time or per day. And eventually from there, they upgraded it to cashless. Now, going completely cashless, that with your phone, with your cards, you can do financial transaction to whatever volume your account is capable of carrying. Now, that has been there. So automatically, it is no longer manually. Everything has been digitalized. But then why should we now have a CBDC? Now, the issue is this. The excuse now is being hinged on the fact that there are, this digital currencies like your cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the lithium, and what have you. There are so many of them. In fact, there are thousands of them now. Bitcoin happens to be the chief. And the disadvantage with the the government is that your crypto is not regulated by your central bank. So people can use the crypto to launder money, to do whatever, and it is not all that traceable. It is not traced, and so it becomes easier for people to use that avenue to send money to wherever and whoever and however they want to send it using crypto. Now, because your central bank doesn't have authority or control over it, so they cannot regulate it. Now, there are policies in every country that there is a limited amount of money that must go through the banks, and if it goes beyond that, your bank would actually report your transaction to the central bank. And when that is done, you may be placed under monitoring, or you may be invited. So that is the reason why you need to declare your money if the money is in excess of what is allowed internationally. Like you're traveling from Nigeria, for instance, to America, and I think the maximum that is allowed is $10,000. So if there is any need for you to go with much more than that amount of money, the law requires that you must declare it, and explain it how and why, what you want to make use of the money for. Now, that doesn't mean now that because of that people are not transacting volumes, but the thing is that it must be declared so that the intentions or what the money is meant for must be declared. I'm sure you know this, so pardon me for wasting your time on that, and I may even not be so accurate on what I've just said. But what I'm looking at now is that now the governments per se now wants to have their own digital currency. Now, when you look at it on the surface, it's like, oh, okay, if that is the case, then there is no danger in it. But beyond that, there is a danger. Now, beyond that, if you will be patient enough to listen to what I have to tell you about this, I actually said that this is part one. Now, you're going to get to understand that the system of the beast is being prepared by this system, that is coming out, that is being rolled out by the world government. Maybe you do not know that the one world government is almost ready and it's just waiting for the time for it to be unleashed. My brothers and sisters, if care is not taken, this present system that you have may not last 10 years from now. The present system where your country has her own government and her own leader, president or head of state or whatever, prime minister, if care is not taken, we may not have this independence, for a very long time. This national sovereignty, we may not have it for a long time. What I'm looking at and what I'm trying to tell you is that there is already a system, a platform that has been created that is going to completely and outrightly now fulfill the mandate of the Antichrist. And like I said in the last video, please watch that video if you have not done so. All these things are geared towards making the takeover of the Antichrist as easy as possible, as easy as things being easy can get for the man of sin.
What would you say if I told you that by the year 2030, you'll own nothing, have no privacy, and yet you'll be happy, that you'll live in a cashless society where all currency is digital, and that everyone on Earth will require a digital ID to travel freely, and that much like communist China, you'll be given a social credit score that determines how loyal you are to this new global system and those who control it. The endgame is a one-world government. To many, this sounds like something straight out of George Orwell's 1984, but I believe an even better guidepost would be the Book of Revelation and the coming Antichrist-led system. Now, some very powerful global players, led by the World Economic Forum and with the enthusiastic backing of some Western leaders, major corporations, and the UN, are openly promoting this radical transformation of society. They call it the Great Reset. And folks, it's not a conspiracy or a theory when the people behind it are telling you out loud what they intend to do.
Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about CBDC, Central Bank Digital or Digitalized Currency. Now, I was saying that already we have our money digitalized and we don't really need this trouble. Now, but they are coming from, an angle that may make it look like harmless. So the government will want to have their own digital currency that may have to stand side by side to compete with the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, the lithium, the whatever you have, the cryptos of this world. And so it makes it this way that if the government of the country is running a digital currency, of course, that dealing on other, digital currencies might become illegal. They may become illegal tenders. It might become, something that may be prohibited in your country. So the freedom of you using the money you have, however you want it, to buy whatever you want to buy with it, may be limited with that, because it comes back to the paper note that the system of the paper note, the bank note that we have been using. Now, where I'm going to is this, that the system of the CBDC is this way, that your bank will literally be reduced to a glorified customer assistant center. Now, how do I mean?
Next, the Federal Reserve issued their report, and in this report, they discuss the Federal Reserve issuing their own stablecoin. This would be a CBDC. The big difference between stablecoins and a CBDC is that stablecoins are decentralized, meaning that no government controls it. Obviously, CBDCs are the opposite. They are centralized, meaning that in this case, the US government controls it. Let me explain how CBDCs work. The first thing to realize is that most of you watching this video are already using electronic currencies. When you go into your bank's website and you check the balance in your bank account, that's all electronic. You do not have custody of your money. The bank has custody of your money. You gave all your money to the bank for safekeeping, and you just check your balance. That is why, when banks fail, you can lose all of your money if it is not covered by FDIC insurance. The way a CBDC works is that instead of you keeping your money in your local bank, you keep it in the biggest bank of them all, the US Federal Reserve. As a normal person, you would not notice any difference. You would still log into your local bank website and check your balance. However, your money would no longer be sitting in your local bank. It would actually be sitting in the Federal Reserve. What you would be looking at when you check your balance is an intermediated wallet that is managed by your local bank. Your bank would be functioning as a middleman. So you can see that a CBDC is different than just another cryptocurrency. CBDC is a massive increase in government control. The Fed is going to issue a new type of US dollar that is all electronic. The old dollars will move out of the old banking system and into the Federal Reserve. You will access your money through an app on your phone to make electronic transactions. Now, I know, for someone who's new to this topic, this sounds really crazy, but I'm not making this up. The description in the Fed's document is that CBDC is defined as a digital liability of the Federal Reserve. This is saying that your money, which was previously a liability of your local bank, would now be a liability of the US government. Your bank does not have custody, the government has custody. One of the biggest concerns is privacy. With CBDC, it is even worse. Now, the Fed says that they will protect your privacy by blocking anyone from seeing your transactions, except for the federal government. They can see everything you are doing. Now, technically, the US government can already gain access to your banking information today, but they have to get a warrant. With CBDC, they already have control over your money, so they can see everything.
Presently, your money is always in your bank, in the local bank where you open your account. Your bank has, every detail of yours. And so your money is sitting well in your bank. Now, the bank can use your money to transact businesses and make profit because they are keeping the money for you. So whenever you need the money, you come back. Central bank that also acknowledges the fact that you have money domiciled in your bank. But the central bank doesn't have a direct authority and control over your money. Now, what happens is that when the CBDC is launched, finally, now what will happen is that the central bank of your country will automatically lift your money from the vault of your bank, from under the authority of your bank, and they will empty it into the vault of the central bank. Now, it means that you are no longer having a direct dealings with your bank as it has to do with the money you have in the bank. Now, the government has absolute authority and power over your money. And guess what that means to you? It means that when they feel you're no longer complying with the system of the government at the time, they can stop your money. We know that your bank can freeze your account by the order of some government agencies. Maybe you are being suspected for some fraud or something. That is quite different. But this time around, it's not your bank this time around. That will be dealing with your cash directly. You will have someone, at the apex who would, initiate, who would decide when to stop your money, stop your accounts. And a perfect example of what I'm trying to actually pass to you is in this.
Another fear is that the government can turn your money on and off whenever you do something they do not like. Maybe they can stop you from using your money to buy certain cars or certain types of stoves. Maybe they can steal your money altogether and cancel you. Recently, we all saw this happen with Andrew Tate. Whether you like him or not, it is still disturbing that someone could be canceled because people did not like what he had to say. Within 24 hours, he was kicked off all social media. He was kicked out of his bank. He was kicked off Stripe, so he could not accept payments. He was kicked off Skype, so he could not make video calls. He was kicked off Google, so he couldn't use any Google products. He can't even buy an Android phone because Google will not let him log in. CBDC would be even worse. If the government controls your money, they can just turn you off if they do not like what you are saying. In case you think that I'm being overdramatic, we just saw this happen. When Russia invaded Ukraine, within 1 week, the US froze all Russian money within the US. Russia had $300 billion in reserves in US dollars in US banks, and it was all frozen.
I'm ending this part one here, and then I'm going to almost immediately upload something else that I discovered. The Great Reset. You may be wondering, what is that? Now, you don't, you have to watch it, you have to see it to know what it is. There is a tick plot against you, where the slogan now is, you will own nothing then, but you will be happy. I'd like you to please like this video and share it, and I will appreciate you, and God will bless you. If you don't, God will bless you. Put down your comment in the comment section. I'll be seeing you very much later in part 1B of this video. Thank you so much, and stay blessed. From me to you, shalom.